And good afternoon, folks. Chief Meteorologist Nick Lilia here taking a look at a storm that we're keeping track of down in Walthall County. A new tornado warning in effect. This one just off to the south, the Tylertown and Lexi. This one's moving off to the northeast at about 30 to 40 miles an hour. A lot of the storms out there today are going to be moving pretty quick. The one in Walthall right now is about 11 miles north of Franklinton, located 7 miles south of Tylertown. This one moving officially at 30 miles an hour from the National Weather Service in Slidell. Of course, if you've been watching all day, you know that across the area, tornado watch in effect across basically the entire Pine Belt for the rest of this afternoon into the evening, and for some folks into the overnight hours. For folks that are in some of our western counties, that goes for Walthall and Lawrence County. You guys are under the gun right now. The reason we're getting on TV is to let you guys know in Walthall County that there is a new tornado warning again in effect, and this one is until 4:45 this afternoon, until 4:45. So it's a reasonably short tornado warning. Generally, they go for 45 minutes to an hour. This one's only 30 minutes because the National Weather Service has actually watched this storm cycle a couple of times. It's went up, had the opportunity to perhaps be producing a tornado, then kind of weakened a little bit, then got stronger again. Because it's bouncing back and forth, this tornado warning is going to be a little bit shorter than the normal tornado warnings that we get on the air for. The reason that we're jumping on perhaps a little early is because we want to give folks downstream from this storm in Marion County an opportunity to get an early heads up. So for you folks in Kokomo, up toward Foxworth, Columbia, and Pickwick, even as far north as Morgantown, and as far south as just off to the north of Sandy Hook. I think you folks in Sandy Hook probably don't have much to worry about with this storm eventually. We want to give you guys an early heads up. And again, for tornado warnings, like we always say, get to the most interior section of your home as best you can. I like interior closets. Interior bathrooms are even better. And protect yourself by getting yourself a helmet, taking some pillows and blankets with you, and head to that interior space and stay there until this tornado warning comes to an end for your area. As we kind of zoom in here a little bit tighter, we're looking pretty high in the clouds, but you can see a pretty stout couplet in here. It's what we like to call it when we get these colors that are right next to each other in here. So your area of circulation is going to be in this ballpark again, just off to the south of Tylertown there. You can see that while it's not quite, while it's bright, it's not a very wide couplet. So this is going to be a pretty small storm. So for you folks that are north in Tylertown, you're probably looking off to the south at some pretty dark clouds. And again, your area of circulation is going to be kind of right in there. You guys are looking off to the south at some pretty dark clouds, but this may not be directly impacting you. You're in the polygon here from the National Weather Service, so we need you to take cover. But I will say, for the most part, the worst part of this storm, again, you can still get bad stuff happen to you even if you're not in the worst part. The worst part of this storm is a little further off to your south. You folks in Dexter downstream from this, keep a lookout for this. It'll be in your neck of the woods at 427 in Kirkland. Right on top of you guys right now, 414. That's where we're at right now. It's about 415. So again, take cover, put as much stuff between you and this storm as you possibly can, and make sure that you're doing what you can to protect yourself from what's happening outside. We're till 5:15. So for you folks a little further off to the north in Prentice and Monticello, you folks are dealing with a much more robust storm. And so for you folks that are to the north in Monticello and down 84 toward Prentice, points nearby, points between, even as far north as New Hebron, and probably as far south as, let me get in here a little bit tighter, yeah, as far south as the Arm community. I need you guys to take cover from Monticello to Silver Creek to Prentice. This storm is moving a little bit slower. This one's going 35 miles an hour as opposed to the 40 miles an hour that some of these storms have been going for today. But this thing is just full, just chock full of lightning. So even if you don't get the tornado, you're still talking about 400 strikes of lightning in the last 5 minutes with this storm. So this is a very electric storm. So even again, if you're not getting the tornado, you're still going to get a fair amount of rain, a whole mess of lightning, and some pretty gusty wind out of this as well. We can switch over to our velocity here, and you can see that we've got a couple areas of interest in here. The main area of concern that we're keeping tabs on is going to be kind of right in here. And again, this one's riding off to kind of the east-northeast at 35 miles an hour. So if we were to take a storm track on that, you've got Monticello by 430, Ferguson by 437, Silver Creek by 443, White Sand by 450, you folks in Prentice by 455. So that gives you folks about 30 to 40 minutes on that one. Carson by 501, Clem by 507, and Dean by 513. Brandon is keeping tabs on the latest from the National Weather Service. And do we have any new information about anything coming out of Marion County over there from the Jackson National Weather Service by chance, since they're downstream from that storm?
So far, Nick, nothing new. Just from what you covered, a severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado was located east of Lincoln, and so that was at 4:14 that they posted that, east of Brookhaven, moving northeast at 35 miles per hour. But they're keeping an eye on that storm across Walthall, nearing Marion County.
All right. Thank you, Brandon. Appreciate that. So again, the National Weather Service keeping tabs on all of this. The reason that you've got two different National Weather Service offices is you've got one National Weather Service office that controls this area over here. That's Slidell, and a different National Weather Service office that does the folks in Marion County. You folks are from Jackson, so you've got two different National Weather Service offices having to coordinate with each other to spread this tornado warning downstream if they so choose. If they do go downstream with that warning, that tornado warning would include you folks in Columbia. That would include you folks in Foxworth and in Pickwick. And unfortunately, you folks in Marion County know all too well about dealing with tornadic weather this time of the year. We're coming up just about a week away from the anniversary 5 years ago of the EF3 that went through Columbia. So if you folks are new to the area, if you're watching this, you're new to the area, you just moved here in the last couple of years, you just settled in Columbia, Foxworth, anywhere in Marion County, frankly, just know that this is not an uncommon event, and this is something that I hope that you all are prepared for, and do what you can to protect yourself from what's happening outside. So we've got two tornado warnings. I'm going to highlight them here. They're highlighted in red from the National Weather Service. Those are the polygons, but I'll highlight it in yellow here just to kind of give it some extra oomph. For you folks in, again, Lawrence County and Jeff Davis County, from Monticello down through Silver Creek and toward Prentice. And again, I said about as far south as the Arm community. I need you folks to take cover and do what you can to put as much stuff between you and that storm as you can right now. Interior room, interior bathroom, interior closet. Take a helmet with you if you got a bike helmet, motorcycle helmet. The kids got football helmets or softball helmets, baseball helmets, something. Get to that safe place. Further to the south in Walthall County, again, you folks in Tylertown are probably okay out of this, but the rest of Walthall County south of 98, you need to be taking cover right now. And as it moves into Marion County, as Brandon just passed along to us from the National Weather Service in Jackson, they're keeping tabs on this one to see if they need to toss this thing downstream and into parts of Marion County. But I'll tell you folks in Columbia, now may be a good time to double check your surroundings. Make sure that that interior bathroom, closet, or room is clear of things so you can get in there and hang out for a little while. Maybe double check to make sure that your phones have been charged up okay. Maybe grab a tablet or something for the kids to hang out and do while you're in your safe place for a little bit. So I think we're getting a damage report in. No, we're getting hail report in. And this is one thing. Was that $50 hail? Am I seeing that right?
Yeah, that's right, Nick.
We got a $50 hail near, was it Allen Road there, just outside of Lincoln. Hail was one of the things today that we talked about over the weekend. Today we could actually see some up to quarter or perhaps even larger hail. And there you go. You've got a $50 sized hail on the ground in Lincoln, and that is again with that northern storm, that circle toward the top of your screen. That storm, again, lightning, rain. Now we know hail is falling out of that storm. So whether you get the tornado or not, you're also going to have to deal with a whole mess of lightning, some wind gusts up over 50 to 60, perhaps even approaching 70 miles an hour, as well as you're going to have to deal with hail now. Brandon, it looks like we got something new from the Weather Service on that storm to the south in Marion County from Jackson.
Right. They're issued a tornado warning now for Marion County. And so at 4:20, a severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado was located near Dexter, or 7 miles southwest of Kokomo, moving northeast at 35 miles per hour. So they have issued a tornado warning for Marion County.
All right, thank you very much. And again, we can kind of jump in here. You can see where the couplet is. We can pull the storm track on it. And we want to let you folks in Foxworth know by 4:45. That gives you about 20 minutes to get to that safe place. 4:48 in Columbia, 4:53 for Columbia Academy. You folks in Bunker Hill by 5:02, Improved by 5:06, making it all the way to Olo on the southern track of this thing, but Olo by 5:12 into parts of Lamar County. So again, that's the southern storm right now with a tornado warning, and this tornado warning is radar indicated. They're also concerned about hail, 1.75-inch hail perhaps coming out of that. So that would be some pretty decent sized, that's like a $50, a little bit bigger than a $50 sized hail. So again, this storm, you're not only worried about the tornado in there, you've got some lightning, you've got some heavy rain. We're also concerned across parts of South Mississippi in about 3.5 years. I believe March of 2016 was the last time that we saw hail in our area that was bigger than a $50 size. So it's been a long time since we've seen hail this large. So again, you folks in Walthall and now into Marion County, you're underneath a tornado warning, and this one lasts until let's see here. This one goes until 5:15. Until 5:15 for you folks in Marion County. Zooming things back out a little bit and pushing ourselves off to the north, we still have that one that's moving through parts of Lawrence County. You can see this one's wrapping itself up pretty decently. We've got some decent inflow here, and we can come down the backside there. We can go over and look at the storm relative motion here, and it looks like this one's marching down 84. It's taken kind of more of an easterly kick over about the last 20 minutes and sliding almost right down 84 through parts of Lawrence County. This is an indication that we've got a strengthening storm. Generally, storms tend to lean a little more easterly in these kind of setups. And these kinds of setups, they lean a little more easterly as they strengthen. As they weaken, they'll tend to lean a little more northerly in their specific track, with this one almost going due east for the last little bit. You folks in Monticello and again Silver Creek and Prentice need to be keeping very close tabs on this storm from your safe place, from inside that interior bathroom, that interior closet, an interior room of some kind. Do what you can to turn up the TV real loud so that maybe you can hear us if it's down the hall or around the corner. Of course, you can always download the WDAM First Alert Weather app on your phone. You can take us with you. Please know, though, if you are going to be using the app from wherever it is that you are protecting yourself from what's happening outside, that there is a delay in getting the stream to you on the app, because instead of just going over an antenna or through a satellite to get to your TV, it's got to bounce through all the cell phone towers to get to you. So it takes a little bit longer. That delay can be between 3 and 5 minutes. So please know that. Looks like we've got maybe some new data coming out. I heard an alert back there.
That's right. So from Louisiana, a severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado was located near Dexter, or 8 miles southwest of Kokomo, moving northeast at 30 miles per hour. So that's a tornado warning for Walthall.
Okay, so again, that's back down here to the south in Walthall and Marion County. That's that storm we were talking about earlier. This one, again, and as Brandon just said, is moving off northeast. So, you know, we can kind of get in here and highlight a couple of roads for you guys. Thank goodness Patrick got in here. He did a great job with these new maps. So we can highlight roads for you guys and let you know that if you're on Turnage Chapel Road, if you're on New Hope Kokomo Road, if you're on New Hope Church Road, Pickwick Road, 10 Mile Creek Road, Sunflower Road, North Jamestown Road. As you get yourself into parts of Marion County, you need to be taking cover right now. I need you to get to that safe place and put as much stuff between you and what's happening outside as you possibly can. If you're just tuning in because the weather's getting hairy outside, if you're saying to yourself, well, hold on a second, I'm getting thunder, I'm getting lightning, maybe the sky's getting dark in the distance, you're living, in Columbia or Foxworth or Kokomo, you're underneath the tornado warning right now. This one goes until 5:15 for the storm that, as Brandon just said, is just off to the north of Dexter, moving northeast at about 35 miles an hour. It's the same story further to the north near Monticello. You folks in Monticello, it's actually just down the street from you guys on 84. This one's moving to the northeast at about 35 to 40 miles an hour as well. This one looks like it's going to slide just north of Monticello. But you folks down the road again in Silver Creek and Prentice need to pay close attention to this because as it strengthens and weakens, it does tend to wobble across the landscape. So there are going to be times where it goes a little further to the north and times where it goes a little further due east. This thing is just marched right down 84 from just off to the south of Brookhaven. So it's been kind of wrapping itself up and getting a little better organized and moving a little more due east over about the last 15 to 20 minutes. So again, you folks in Lawrence and Jeff Davis County, I need to keep tabs on this one to the north, and you folks in Marion County down to the south need to keep tabs on this one. The National Weather Service suggesting that the one to the south also has large hail with it as well, 1.75-inch hail in here. So if you are, outside, or you know people that are outside, I should say, downstream from this in Pickwick, up and down 13 from Columbia to Pine Bur, from Foxworth to Pickwick, even as far north as Morgantown. You have people working outside or something like that. Tell them, shoot them a text, shoot them a call, and tell them to come in because there's a chance for some big hail coming. Yeah, what are you getting?
So there is a possible funnel cloud west of Monticello. There's getting reports right now, funnel cloud west of Monticello.
Okay, and so again, that's back to the north. Thank you, Brandon. That's back to the north here. We can switch over to storm relative. And again, this is where you want to look because you've got your air coming in here. Those are the brighter colors that you see over here. There's your air coming into the storm here. Your rear flank downdraft is coming on this side, and you're looking for that area of circulation right in there. And so we're now getting reports of funnel clouds in the same area that radar is indicating where that tornado could possibly be. So that's some good ground truth to what may be happening or what we're seeing on radar. So again, up and down 84 from Monticello to Silver Creek. I need you folks to get in that safe place right now. As Brandon just said, the National Weather Service getting reports of a funnel cloud west of Monticello. And that's for you folks that are further to the north and back off. Clear that out. Back off to the south as we slide things back down to parts of Marion County. I was trying to dig up the hail track on this one for you guys to let you know to see what the radar is picking up in terms of hail. The National Weather Service suggesting 1.75-inch hail possible within this storm. The radar can actually pull up a hail track for us and give us an idea as to what we may be looking at in terms of a hail size. It looks like we may have gotten some new information from the National Weather Service on that storm to the north, Brandon. Is that correct?
That's right. They're going to continue the tornado warning for Jefferson Davis, Lawrence until 5:15.
All right, perfect. Thank you, Brandon. And so they're going to continue that one to the north as I dig up our hail track in here. And yeah, you can see just off to the south of Tylertown, a radar picked up 2-inch hail in there, 2-inch hail. So that's golf ball sized hail coming out of the clouds. Right now, you can take a peek at what it thinks coming out of the clouds right now. And again, that's 2-inch hail falling out of this thunderstorm just a couple minutes ago. This one actually looks like it's pushing a little further to the north, on the north side of this tornado warning. So again, you folks in Kokomo, Foxworth, and down the road in Columbia are going to be dealing with not only the threat for a potential tornado, but as radar has shown, also the threat for some very large hail, up to 2 inches in diameter. That is enough to do damage to some cars. It'll do some damage to some, siding if you've got exposed siding on your house, if you don't have eaves, because with a 50, 60, perhaps even 70-mile-an-hour wind, these 2-inch hailstones will not be falling directly down, but rather kind of at a slant. And so the side of your house may get pegged up pretty good with some of these 2-inch hailstones. Also important to note, this is why we want you in that interior room. If you've got windows facing the direction where that hail is coming from, 2-inch hail is big enough to, at the very least, crack some windows, particularly in some of the older homes that I know folks have out there. Some of these beautiful older homes sometimes don't have the double-pane storm windows on them, so that's why we want you in that interior room and do the best you can to kind of protect yourself. As we slide this thing back, you can kind of see the track on this one is on kind of the northern side of the tornado warning that's in effect right now for Marion County. And so what we need you guys to do is, again, stay in that safe place. We head over to the base velocity storm relative. You can see that the main area of circulation, if we were to ID it, would be on the south side. We can go back to the radar and double check and make sure that's where we're seeing it. And yeah, that's where it's going to be. Right over there is going to be your main area of circulation. It's moving off to the kind of east-northeast. You folks in Foxworth by 449, Columbia 452, Columbia Academy by 457. So do what you can to protect yourself and make sure that you get to that interior room, that interior bathroom, and that interior closet. And like I always say, if you can, bring pillows and blankets with you, helmet, a bike helmet, a motorcycle helmet, whatever you can to protect your head. Again, it could be just the hail that we're concerned about, or stuff that the storm's kicked up and is blowing around, tree branches, rocks, debris, stuff like that. It doesn't have to necessarily be lofted in the tornado and to pick you up or anything, but it can just send stuff through a window or the side of a house. That's why we want you with as many walls between you and what's happening outside as we can. Back off to the north, we've got our other area of concern right now, and again, this one was moving through Monticello just a couple of minutes ago. This one for Silver Creek and Prentice downstream is moving at 35 miles an hour, so says the National Weather Service in Jackson on this one. And this one was the funnel cloud that was reported just a couple of minutes ago. That was at 4:26, so about 6 minutes ago, and that was from emergency management in Lawrence County. So we've got emergency managers out double checking on things and making sure that everyone's safe and noticing a funnel cloud out there. So the National Weather Service keeping tabs on both of these storms. Looks like we have a new mesoscale discussion perhaps out. We'll have to check that out here in a hot second, Brandon, and see what the Weather Service is suggesting as we head through the next little bit. It looks like they're saying that the tornado potential will likely maximize during the next hour or two, with a strong tornado possible, with supercells moving northeast across US 49. So the National Weather Service suggesting that a strong tornado possible with not only this storm up here, but also the one down off to the south. They are highlighting this one in particular, saying that radar imagery shows that a cluster of supercells over South Mississippi is moving northeast within a moderately unstable air mass, suggesting that we've got dew points and temperatures in the mid-70s in places, and unfortunately, we've got forecast sounding showing strengthening and veering winds. So you've got a wind change, a direction and speed with height, which is what we're always talking about, that you need for these things, with a minimal amount of what we were seeing over the last couple of days, which is why we've been saying last week and into the weekend, we were going, well, we're not sure how severe things are going to be, because as you move up in the atmosphere, we're thinking, okay, well, there may be a little bit of a wobble in there with the wind, so that may help us a little bit. The National Weather Service saying they're not seeing much of that, and unfortunately, that is allowing our area to be favorable for the development of a strong tornado. That would be an EF2 or greater tornado. And this is going to continue for the next hour or two. So we're going to be with you likely for the next hour or two watching this storm, or storms like it, perhaps the one off to the south across parts of Marion County, move across the area. And the National Weather Service noting, and I would note the same thing, I can't argue with what they're saying, that there's a lot like we've seen in the past, nothing to really break these things apart right now. So over the next hour or two, There's nothing really in the atmosphere that says that these should weaken or these will go away. So just know if you're downstream here, I'm going to zoom this thing out a little bit. So just know if you're downstream from either of these, let me get the storm cone on here, and I'm going to slink this thing down a little bit. If you're downstream from these, I'll just pull this out over the next 2-3 hours. Collins 527, Taylorsville 545, So-So by 558, Laurel by 610, Sandersville 622, Whistler by 643, and Waynesboro by 658. That's the northern storm. If this thing continues like the National Weather Service is suggesting for the next hour or two, this is for up to 2.5 hours, these are the areas that may be impacted by this storm. And again, there's no confirmed tornado on the ground with this right now. We've had reports of funnel clouds, and that's it. This is a radar-indicated tornado, so we do not have confirmation that this is on the ground and doing damage. But the National Weather Service is saying there's a maximum potential over the next hour or two for a potential strong tornado. So I need you guys to take this very seriously if you're living downstream from this most northern storm. If you're living downstream from this southern storm, again, this one moving a little more northeasterly than easterly, over the next couple of hours. Again, Columbia Academy, you folks, and Columbia in about the next 20 minutes with this one. Olo by 511, Sumrall by 523, Hattiesburg by 539, Moselle, just north of us here at the TV station, 551, Ellisville by 604, Laurel by 616, and the Strangford community by 632, again, through the next 2 hours. And these storms